How do we usually approach the projects?
So I think the very specific approach we have towards whatever we do is that we take pride in making sure that the product feels as if it was our own product, not in case of ownership, but in the way we treat it, because we always care about what we do. And this allows us to channel through all the energy we have and put all the heart in it, because we don't feel that we're a separate team from our clients, customers, or whoever we work with. We think of it all as a whole team, and we're part of it, and we develop something obviously for our customers, but as part of the whole single team, because this allows us to put in more energy and just develop a better thing after all.
Sure. So we don't really do body leasing as per se?
Not usually. Sometimes it happens this way, but then it's the members of our team that also join our customers' teams. But it's a more non-typical occasion. Sometimes we have parts of our team join with the customer's team, and we build it together with the same approach. Ideally, I mean, I'm speaking for all our developers, but I think that's generally the same mindset across all the people within our team. And it's still the same thing, because for us, the important part is to feel as if we're one team. We don't think it works good if we don't, if we're maybe not treated as the team and we're treated as consultants per se. Of course, we'll still sometimes, we are consultants, but if we are not working together, it doesn't allow us to do the whole thing right.
Sure. Recently, we've sent some of our team members to Norway.
Yes.
That's because of our approach, right? Because we took part in the planning and...
Yes, it certainly helps. Of course, working virtually is fine and it's completely viable, but meeting the people and sitting in the same room, getting to know them as people and working with them together as a whole team is usually easier when you actually get to know them and kind of understand the background. I hope it works both ways, because if the other part of the team just gets to know us, they might have a better understanding of what's kind of at our approach or where we're facing, and it makes the communication easier virtually afterwards. But as you mentioned, we usually try to meet up every now and then, even if it's once a month, twice a month, or once every couple of months, to just sync up and kind of visualize everyone in the team as actual people, not as avatars on a call.
Sure. So how often does it usually happen?
I think once a month is kind of a sweet spot, but it really depends on the requirements of the project. So if we know we're up to speed, everybody knows where we're going, and we have no questions that might require a long workshop, it's perfectly fine. We've had situations before that we just met once with the team at the beginning, and everything went on just fine without an actual other kind of meeting. But sometimes when there's a lot of decisions to be made, and even though they can be done virtually, I think it's sometimes beneficial to just do it in a room, because everybody's full on the subject, and I think the engagement is a little bit more visible in a way. So because some people might have an opinion, but they will just raise it if they're in a room. So yeah, I think once a month is kind of usually a sweet spot for that.
Okay. Do you have a standard, let's call it a procedure for these workshops?
It really depends. Not so much. We do different workshops, because either we do it on the product designer or UI level, where we try to discuss the actual needs of whatever we're supposed to build and of our customer, because sometimes the ideas are not yet ready to be molded into the actual product, and we often try to ask deep questions, get deep understanding of whatever is to be built, because sometimes contesting it at the beginning is better than building something that was not meant to be or does not have a place in the real world, even though it seems great on paper. But just doing a short workshop at the beginning to just perfectly mold the idea of the product is great. We often do development workshops, so to say. So when we're working on a specific feature, and I mean, the design is all ready, but then there's some parts of the actual low-level back-end work or whatever, and there's other people on the team that might have an opinion to chip into that, then it's great to just discuss it together and maybe have an idea on the architectural level, or maybe do a retrospective on whatever's working, whatever's not, what are the possible optimizations that can be introduced. All these kinds of workshops, they're all equally important, but different projects need them at different stages. So,
Sure. Do you have a favorite, then?
I love the technical ones, because getting down to the details and digging into the actual infrastructural decisions, which are usually long running, because sometimes changing framework, changing the utility that's there, flipping some features around causes a lot of work in the long run. So the pressure of actually making the right decision at the same time and asking the right questions is great. But that's because I'm responsible for the back end part usually. So
Sure.
I guess that's just in my area of expertise. But I love to listen to to chip in, but I love it when we're in also like top level feature product design workshops, because you can see the questions that kind of create the idea of the product, or maybe make it a product from an idea. And seeing this developed over the next months or years is also great. One of the other possible outcomes of us thinking of the product and caring about the product is that we are not afraid of flipping the table sometimes, or just changing things around, saying things which are maybe not convenient or easy. Because for myself as a developer, and I think a lot of people agree with that, it's awful to develop something which does not make sense. It's even worse to develop something that's not used.
Yeah.
So I think we're pretty happy with how many of the things that we've actually built over the years are still in use and still making things better for whoever needed them. But also, I think it's great whenever you see something that doesn't work. We don't really wait for tasks. We don't execute tasks. We try to develop the product with the team. And if we see something that doesn't work, we would very much rather raise it and have a longer discussion on if it makes sense. Do we understand everything? Maybe we don't see the full picture, but we kind of need to understand it to develop it better, rather than build it and then have the outcome which isn't exactly what was needed in the first place. So, or maybe the product idea has to change, and then we build something from the ground up. Sometimes it's hard, because sometimes that's what MVPs are for, and that's where pivots happen. But they can be painful. It's actually interesting, because when you develop something and it serves its purpose because the startup is moving on, and then it changes the idea completely, when you have some of the work you've done scrapped, it hurts us as developers. I mean, of course, it moves on, so it makes sense, but it can be hard for some people. That's so, because you put your life into it and then it's just gone. But
have you had any uncomfortable discussions in the past that had to be had?
Oh, many. I don't think I can erase all of them. That would be risky now. But just to name a few, I remember sometimes beginning of workshops can be a little bit hard, because often we come with the perspective like we're here to kind of teach a lesson, maybe, and that gets different kinds of perception types. But it's sometimes just happens that we come in and say, oh, now we're going to show you how to understand your product. And a lot of our customers think they understand their product, and I believe they do. But sometimes taking a different approach, where we're trying to kind of like put this in a specific way, either be it user journey mapping, or maybe just some other way of running the workshop. We've had it that we did get a bounce back on like, why are we doing this way? But then with some understanding on it and some explanation, it went through smoothly and the workshop was very efficient. So that's, it sometimes gets uncomfortable, but I think it's amazing to really kind of clear the room and move on and have these animosities resolved and just move on. Another example is whenever we're building this partnership approach, it doesn't exactly come out of the box every now and then. And there are some bumpy elements to kind of go over. And I remember situations in which we've had very long discussions and probably some inconvenience or like uncomfortable ones, because this approach requires mutual trust. And if there is any doubt of that, it's something that has to be resolved. It has to be better. We've had multiple cases of it that the beginning was a little bit hard. We had to like push some ideas through, maybe to explain better why we want to do things in a specific way. But it turns out after like months or years that it's just become clear, and the kind of way of work has evolved, and now it's moving forward. So this also proves to me that sometimes it's good to be persistent and kind of pushing things if we believe it's the right way, and that's because very. It's just makes, if it makes sense, let's just press forward. If we believe in it, let's make it happen. If we can't make it happen, then sometimes it's just better to make everybody go their own way, not to force something that's kind of not moving on.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that makes total sense. If you don't feel something, then maybe it's better not to do it. Then
that's the lesson learned throughout the years.
Yeah, sure. Thanks for talking to us. It's been a pleasure, and see you next time.
Thanks as well. See you next time.